So, hello, welcome. Thanks for joining this little and often training session with myself, Mark Hartwright, and hopefully you're keeping well as we begin to go to the end of the term. But I kind of wanted to have a bit of a think around um, this session itself here, what we do, and how can we kind of use Lumio in a different way to kind of complement or change the classroom practice. And today's little training session is just going to be focused on mini whiteboards. Now, mini whiteboards you may not use in your class. You may have seen them. Primary setting from myself, I'm kind of former primary school teacher. I use them daily, and they were a really great resource. But as great as they were, they had their flaws. It was great to have that blank canvas in front of the students so they could just write on something and just quick responses from it. But actually, it was just that blank canvas. How can we use that as a scaffolded tool rather than just give them nothing? So I'm going to use Lumio this afternoon, firstly to have a look at the way it could be used currently, but actually now the students have got a device, how can that be used as a replacement or sometimes we can do it digitally as well as actually doing it as well. So let's have a look at some here. So for this session here, I've prepared a few just so I'm not doing it completely on the fly, but all of the examples I'm going to give here are within New. And then once I click on New, they're just different examples within here. So all of them you can make within 5 minutes, the whole thing, or just add on the fly as well. To get to Lumio itself, you can just go to Lumio, lum.io, single sign on, and away you go. So I'm just going to start this session here, and I'm going to start a new session. So as soon as I start a new session, it is going to say, do you want to timestamp it? So if I'm teaching this multiple times, that will come up for that as well. And it'll also give me a login credentials so I can get my students already logged in. If they are returning the student again, hence why I've got these devices here, they're already signed in. They can click on the teacher's name and they're going to be in, and it's going to be absolutely fine. Awesome. Okay, so now you can see that that's the signing for the QR for the students that can join there, or of course they can join a link. I've already set up these two devices as well, just so that it can be shown on any device. And then they can be having that information in front of you. So here, sharing my screen in front of me, I can see just quick fire questions. What can we do? Tell me a nocturnal animal. Write it down. Show me a whiteboard. Off you go. What's 5 lots of 6? Generic questions like that. But rather than doing it on that mini whiteboard, revealing and you trying to scan around, I can have questions typed like that or just verbally give them. And then from there, I can convert this page to an individual handout. And what that does is individually give the students their handout. If they haven't started yet, like student here, it will show nothing. But then you can see individually, these are the students here. So if I was then to, as a learner here, 5 lots of 6 is 30, I can write that on there. I can either have that preview, which is new to Lumio, having that quick preview, or if I want to hide those, I can have that there. What's really good about this is, yes, there's that quick fire answers in this sense here, but actually, unlike the dry wipes, I can click on export PDF and I can have all of those printed out. So if I do need this as evidence, I have got it itself here. And that's then obviously the previews within here. Great example of that. Moving on, using another individual whiteboard. In fact, I'm just going to do it the other way around, and I'm going to add in a new whiteboard, literally blank. And there's another one that they can go with. So if I was to verbally say, what's another question like that 5 to 6, tell me a nocturnal animal, then they've got that one and they can straight away get going with there. This next one I've set up is kind of that reverse way of doing it. So if I just jump back to that page I was at beforehand. So I've brought in a template. Again, these are in the Lumio library. And once I then convert this to an individual handout, it means that the learners have got the scaffolding to it. So rather than saying, there's my teacher handout, I've got the top here. If the answer is, let's do that backwards. So if the answer is, and I can type in as the teacher 30, then if that's then for the teacher, the learners have got around the outside, so they could do 30, add 0. 20 add 10, 15 times 2. They can be then writing all of their answers up around there. And then I can see those coming in from each of the learners. So I've got that feedback happening as they do it. I can give that verbal, well done for that one, well done for that one. Oh, this person hasn't even started yet. Or actually, I can go into here and give that feedback. I can go, oh, this is a good one here, and kind of tick those ones. Or if I wanted to use a sticker and say, right, that's a great one, and I can add that to that one here. Maybe I could select their favorite one for them to share as that whole class is still giving that verbal feedback. So that's that way of using those mini whiteboards, but in a digital format, using that background to scaffold their answers rather than just a mesh of everything. Another example, spellings. How do I write this one? Whatever it might be. So again, I've got that template here, changing it to individual handout. They can then be writing on their device using that template to scaffold their answers rather than just kind of going everywhere within it. And again, I could have put handwriting lines, whatever it might be for that there. As well as the templates that are just the blank kind of a template, also within Lumio, you'll find some digital manipulatives. So like this one here, I can see that as a learner in front of me. And it might be that we're discussing these saying, right, I've got 3 blue ones. How many more orange ones do I need to make 10? They can write it down. They can put it on their mini whiteboard. But actually, for those students that need to actually physically move them, they've got that in front of them just to be able to count. They can't move them yet. But again, now I change that to an individual handout. They've not only got the worksheet, they've not only got the ability to kind of see in that, but they can actually move and do those now. So then as the learner here, they can come up and move these objects. These are infinitely cloned, so they can have them all from here. And then I can see what they're doing. They can count those up. They can even grab a pen and kind of go 1, 2, 3. And let's just pick a different color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then they can have 7 and 3 equals 10. And they can actually write that on theirs as well as it appearing for you to actually see who's grasping this as well, or jump in and support those learners. So giving them that scaffold, giving them that rubric, that space to play, that space to work in, removes that fear of, I don't know where to start. What do I do? I actually need to physically touch it. And it just gives them that extra bit of support here. So a great way to do that straight within Lumio. Again, very similar way with coins. Don't we just love teaching coins when we haven't got all the exact ones itself? But maybe on this side, I've put, right, let's make a pound. How can I make a pound? Away you go. Exactly the same way, individually. And then here, as learners, they can then manipulate it. They can move those coins as well. Best will in the world, we have physical coins. We can do them, either the real ones or plastic ones. But now I can bring those in here. And maybe I've put the pound at the top and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. And then they can bring those in here as well. They can see what they're doing. Again, I can jump into these and give feedback or see it from here as well. Next one. This one I really like. So this is a response. So this is a formative assessment. But actually what I can do with this one is, as the learner, I can type in my responses. And if I say back to overview, I think it is this one here. I meant to type in short answer. So let's do that one. Let's just add that in real time so I can then edit this lesson. The one that I wanted to add in was this one. And edit, I want to type in a short answer. Don't think I need a response. So let's just put an F as an example. Nocturnal animal. I think I've spelled that mostly right. So click next, click finish, and then finish that one. So now I've made that assessment. Students have then got it on their device now as well. So that when they do type in an animal, for example, I type in owl, that's going to come, then my word wall is beginning up on here. And then all of the ones can be appearing, not named at the moment. Then maybe then the learners can say, oh, you can say, well, write one that's not up on the board. If I'll prefer to show that in a list, I can have that just in a list. Or is that word cloud having it there as well? or back to the overview where I'm just kind of saying who is answering the ones itself. So a great way to using that word wall, again, inside of Lumio. Shout it out is really another good way. I mean, again, coming back to the use of whiteboards, a lot of them is that quick fire answer. But now with shout it out, what it does is gives the students a text box so they can type in something. Let's just type in owl again. And then I can send my response, and then that comes up to the front here. So now beginning to have those post-it notes, those quick fire answers from all the learners up on the front of the display here. And we can move those around, categorize them, whatever. Speaking of categorizing, this one here categorizes it into facts, questions, and opinions. So when the students have now their text box with those particular ones from here, they can type that in, and then that can all be appearing at the front here as well. So a great way to use that, again, with some order behind it as well. Moving on, showing a poem. Actually handing out that poem whilst we've got the mini whiteboards. They can see it, they can read it. If a learner needs to pinch into Zoom, they can themselves here. But actually, it might be that within here, I can then use a screen shade. Turn that screen shade on if I want to cover it up. Which other ones within here? Spotlight was one I was wanting to look for. So it now might be saying, right, we're just going to look at the front of this particular stanza, this verse. And then we're going to read the next one. And then we're going to read the next one. And it just highlights that one for everyone with that spotlight. Or I can go ahead and get a pen, and rather than using a normal pen, I can use a highlighter. Let's pick a fat one and highlight kind of key bits within it itself here. That is then on the learner's device as well. So this time when I change it to an individual handout, now the learner's got that highlighted to start with. They've already got that whole class what you were doing at the front. But now they've also got the ability to go in and add to that as well. So they might be a kind of underlining key parts within it itself. They might be adding annotations and notes around the side. So it gives that structure to the way that they're using that mini whiteboard, that handout. And then, of course, that 6-word summary as well. I can send this out. Again, this is the template within it. It sends out that 6-word summary to the students. What do you think about the poem? Sum up that poem in 6 words. They can type it on it here, and then you've got all those responses as well. So again, that framework to it itself. So a few different examples to those. All of those, if I then just end this class, I'll go back to edit. All of those are in add a page. So most of them I took from the graphic organizers. So I can add in different ones here. Some of them I've chosen from the digital manipulatives like the coins and the tens frame. And then the other ones were this prior knowledge and question learning and the response as well. So I can add all of those different ones into that lesson and have those within my lesson itself. So let's just end this one now as well. Let's go back to end lesson. And there we go, that's that one. Because I'm on the beta, it's just asking me for feedback from all of these, so that's why all of these are popping up. And then let's click on edit as well. So this was the main lesson I had here, and I added it in, but now I've stopped that lesson. It also gives me this option down here, this AI assist. Now, this is a bit of a random lesson to start with. So my AI assist is random, but actually if you've already got a lesson, you want to integrate the whiteboards to it, I can click on AI assist. And what it does is read your lesson already. What I'd like to do within that lesson is increase that live lesson engagement. And I want to use that quick assessment and monitoring that is great to do on the mini whiteboards within it. Let's just pick 3 activities for now. Of course, I can have more. Include the student devices and suggest activities. So what this does, it gives you examples of how to use your mini whiteboard or how to use your iPad or Chromebook or whatever it might be for the learners so they can have that interaction engagement in itself here. Now I can close the panel itself and come back to it at any moment. Hopefully these are going to come up and they'll be all sorted. Again, what the beauty with Lumio is it gives you that edit access. So these are the couple ones that it's kind of suggested. I can double check that exactly what I want there, and then I can add the activities. So what it does is it adds the activities, one of them after page 1, And then the other one down at the bottom here. So it's a tens frame check. Let's just edit the activity. Is it right? And using that formative assessment here, what it's done is added in 5 questions about using a 10 frame. It's added some questions that are about relevant. If I need to edit them, I can. I just click and edit them. If I want to delete a question, I can just delete that question. Click next. And then that mini assessment is already in my lesson. Again, using AI to create that content to make it easier for you. And then the other one is your monster quiz. Great fun to play with the whole class. And then here, again, these are the questions here. Some around nocturnals, some are adding a few within there as well. Again, if you've got a better lesson, it's going to read better content, but I've got a few examples, in there. And then that lesson is then expanded with that use of AI content within it. And it sits within here as well. It's not using your data. It's not using students' data. It's just using that real world knowledge of your lesson to be able to add to it. And that sells here. So that's a great use of the mini whiteboards directly within Lumio. Of course, carry on using the ones already. If you haven't got a mini whiteboard pen, a great example of doing that. A great way of using these student devices to get them engaged, get them doing straight away with these quick and easy activities to it. And of course, these can be added to any lesson itself, but a quick way to get started for there as well. If you want to learn more, there is the hat at the top here. So feel free to click on that. But there's also one more link I want to share with you. It is the Lumio, if I can spell. I should have had this link ready for me, but it's just there. Is the Lumio Palooza. So coming up in a few weeks' time now, the middle of July is going to be a Lumio Palooza. A Lumio Palooza is 2 weeks or 2 days of webinars. There's about over 70 teachers from around the world coming to present in lots and lots of different languages. And then you can see them all kind of laid out in here. I'd urge you to kind of click on one, click on more than one, register your interest to them, book yourselves a seat on them. And there's some really good activities based on all of these for all of those as well across the 2 days, as well as 2 keynote live speakers for there as well, which will be amazing to see you and on all of those as well. So hopefully that's been useful. Hopefully you've learned all about you know where the Palooza is itself. I'll leave a link. I'll send out a link tomorrow for that as well. And some great uses of mini whiteboards as well. And of course, if there's any more support I can offer, any more training, please be in touch. And I'll do my best to support you with that as well, either live or remote, for training sessions as well, if you're wanting to run through more of a formal demo of Lumio or any of the hardware as well. So I hope you're doing all right. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.